So I was just browsing through photos of Airbnbs in Greece because I watched this vlog on YouTube like a year or so ago of these girls who went on like a girls' trip to Greece and stayed in one of those like beautiful old stone like fishermen's houses right on the water where you've literally got like steps going down from the front of the house, or I guess the back of the house, into the water, like you're right there. And you know, as broke people do, every once in a while I like to go and check in and see how much my dream life costs and just like live in the fantasy for a little bit. Oh my god, and I was looking at these photos of these Airbnbs in Greece and I just started crying because they're so beautiful. Like, Greece is so beautiful and I could just like feel what it would be like to be there and live there and just like smell the salt water and like feel the warm sun and live in a place with a beautiful climate and beautiful weather and like a calm, healthy, wholesome lifestyle. And it just really got me thinking about like what makes me happy and what I need to be happy. Whenever people ask me this or whenever I think about it, I think, you know, there's so few things that like that really come to mind that make me happy. I love the beach. I love going to rock concerts. I love dogs. And occasionally I would love to be able to go back and visit Shanghai because I grew up there and a part of me will always feel like that's home in a way. But that's like, that's really all I need. I need the beach and dogs and cool music and the cool people that you meet when you're listening to the cool music. Whenever I think about the happiest days that I've ever lived in this life, I never think about like the day that I bought something or the day that I was given something. Maybe like the day that we bought my dog or, you know, or the day that we got my dog, depending which dog we're talking about. But like, I have so much stuff and I've spent so much money on stuff and I spend so much time organizing my stuff, putting my stuff away, decluttering my stuff, trying to save up money to buy more stuff. And I think it's just because like that gives you like short-term satisfaction, you know, like I don't buy stuff I don't like, you know, I buy a pretty dress because it's a pretty dress and I like it and I like wearing it and it makes me feel good when I wear it. But it's also, I think, in large part because, you know, buying a pretty dress is more accessible than like buying a trip to Greece, you know, like those little things, those small luxuries that don't really make you happy, but like bring you a little bit of short-term satisfaction. They're just like easier to get. And it's like when you feel like you can't have the thing you really want, you kind of patch up that hole with other things that are less meaningful, but at least they make you feel better for a while. And you know, I think it also comes from that like whole aspiring influencer mindset. Like I've watched so many girls around my age create that dream life where they get to go to Greece and Spain and Italy and wherever they want to go on the back of doing clothing hauls and doing skincare routines and like recommending products, right? Showing people what they're buying and what they're wearing and what they're using. And it is a very nice lifestyle. I mean, I like stuff. I do. I like stuff. But do I like it more than Greece? I don't think so. I think I'd be happier in last season's dress in Greece than in this season's dress in my living room on Instagram showing people what I'm wearing this week, you know, or whatever the case may be. I haven't even been making that much content. So is it, you know, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I think it's not justified anymore. I think for a long time I justified shopping and overspending and putting myself in credit card debt because I felt like buying those things and showing those things off would attract like attention from brands and would get me brand deals and would get me the influencer life that I kind of crave and that I kind of wish for myself. I don't care if that sounds shallow. I mean, I think when it boils down to it, I think a lot of people can understand why that is attractive and why so many young people are trying to become influencers, because we're just getting disillusioned with the job market and the ever rising cost of living and the salaries not keeping up with it, and it just doesn't seem worth it anymore. Like a traditional career doesn't seem worth it anymore because it has a ceiling. There's a ceiling to how much you can earn when you're an employee, when you work a normal 9-to-5 job. But when you're an influencer or a content creator or an entrepreneur of some kind, there's no ceiling, right? You might fail miserably, like I kind of sort of currently am. You know, you might like go years making barely scraps, but also you might like hit the jackpot and live the life that everybody wants. Maybe not everybody, you know, not everybody, because it's not what everybody wants. I think it just feels that way to me because I'm kind of like, I exist in that bubble so much. But what I'm getting at is stuff won't make me happy. Greece will make me happy. Traveling will make me happy. Experiences, people, quality time with people, like a certain lifestyle, not stuff, lifestyle, not things, activities, experiences, people, going places, seeing stuff, living. Shopping is not living, you know, shopping is not living. Buying things is not a hobby. It's not an activity. It's not fulfilling. It doesn't light you up in that way that like a really unique special day does. So like I'm in my room surrounded by stuff that has been stressing the hell out of me for the last few weeks because I've been trying and failing to tidy up my space, because like even as someone with ADHD who's a little bit of a hoarder, who is definitely a maximalist, even for me it is too much. It has gotten too much. And I was talking to my therapist about this week actually, and I was telling him how, you know, it's not that I don't like my stuff. I like my stuff. When I take each of my things in my hands and look at it individually, each individual thing sparks some joy for the most part, you know? I like most of my things on their own. But when there's so much of it, and it's just piles and piles, and every closet is full and every box is full and every drawer is full and it's just everywhere, it doesn't matter. It doesn't end up mattering if it's things you like or if it's literal piles of trash, because it all looks the same. When it's disorganized like that, when it's too much like that, when it's overwhelming like that, it doesn't matter that the stuff that's overwhelming you is stuff you like. It might as well be buckets of trash, because it makes you feel the same way, which is stifled, overwhelmed, stressed out, unhappy. Like, how ironic is that masses and masses and masses of things that I have spent countless amounts of money on, put myself into debt for, is now making me stressed and unhappy. It also in many ways comes down to my weight, because for many, many years my weight and my size was very regular. I was the same size. I was skinny. I was like real skinny, too skinny for many years. And then, you know, I kind of entered a little period of being neither too skinny nor overweight, just like perfect, you know? Not perfect, but you know what I mean? I was just healthy, and my body was just in like a very neutral kind of place. And then I started gaining weight, and it's not that it's bad, and it's not that I want to like hate on myself. I don't dislike my body as it is now, but also it is changing still, and the way that my clothes fit is not that flattering anymore. It's harder to find clothes that are flattering, and so I think I have a tendency sometimes to shop because I'm on this like endless, fruitless pursuit to try to find clothes that I feel like I look and feel good in. I guess what I'm trying to say is I need a change. I need a massive, radical lifestyle change. I cannot just like overnight magically be able to afford to live in Greece. But I do know that if I want to live in Greece or even take a trip to Greece, I cannot take all my bullshit with me. I cannot take my piles and piles and piles and piles of all this overwhelming stuff everywhere with me. And I want to learn to live more simply and stop distracting myself from feeling unhappy with more stuff that costs more money and is just ends up being more money put towards distractions that are not true joy. Again, it's really hard because I do have ADHD. I recently found out I do in fact have ADHD, and when you have ADHD, you get like kind of shiny object syndrome, and for me this is reflected largely in like hobbies. So I have a lot of stuff that revolves around hobbies, and I never really want to like get rid of any of it, because the thing is I might move on from a hobby, but I don't move on from it permanently, you know. I come back to it like 6 months later or a year later, you know. I might not pick up a paintbrush for a year, but it doesn't mean I don't like painting anymore. It just means I'm not in like a painting phase of my life. And so part of me just feels like I need to have all that stuff on hold, like ready for me, waiting for me for the next time that I want to try a new hobby and do a new thing. And you know, that is valid and it is true. But also again, especially like at this point in my life where I'm not doing very well financially, and I have some like business ideas and some real concrete like actionable steps that I could take to make more money and to prepare myself for building that lifestyle that I want. Right now, a lot of those like little hobby things that I get into, they're distractions, you know. They're not what I should be prioritizing right now, and they're not bringing me closer to my goals. Ideally, yeah, I would love to have the kind of financial situation and the financial stability that allows me to like sit guilt-free for an hour and do paint by numbers or cross stitching or making trinket dishes out of air dry clay or learning to make ice cream, or you know, whatever the case may be. You know, like these are like all things that I have tried or want to try. I want that life where I can do that and do that guilt-free. But right now, I have more important things to work on that could potentially be equally fun, because I never have attempted to, okay, maybe that's not true, but for the most part, I don't attempt to build a business that's based on something I don't enjoy doing. I'm very spoiled like that. I want to be a business owner who makes a crap ton of money doing something I really love for very few hours a week. Like, that is the dream. I want to work like 10 hours a week, 15 hours a week, doing work that I thoroughly enjoy and get paid a lot of money for, so that I can travel like 6 months out of the year. Maybe even 9 months out of the year. I would ideally like to be relocating like every 2 to 3 months. I'd love to be like, you know, 2-3 months in Greece, then 2 or 3 months in Shanghai, and then go back to Romania for a while because that's where I'm from, and then come back to Germany where my family is living now, my mom and my sister and my dog. You know, like that is the dream. That is what I would love to do. I guess essentially be a digital nomad. But I don't really identify with the term digital nomad because I feel like it has become very like the digital nomad life has become polluted by a lot of like extremely, let's say like culturally disconnected people. You know, like Bali. People love Bali and Bali is beautiful, but there's so many people living in Bali now who have like completely stripped the area of its indigenous, like local culture. And so now you're not going to Bali for an authentic experience. You're going there for a, what's the term? Kind of like luxury, spoiled, touristy sort of experience, and that's not necessarily how I want to live. I think it is to like some extent, but I do still want to go places where I can live the authentic local lifestyle as well. I'm going off on a tangent here. My point is, I'm having the impulse right now to go scorched earth and sell all my crap, throw away whatever I can't sell, downsize my life and my belongings a lot. I don't have to get rid of everything, but I need to stop buying things unnecessarily until I can afford it. I need to figure out how to afford the things that make me happy and then afford the things that are like nice little short-term zings of joy, you know? And right now, priority number one should be traveling, concerts, authentic experiences, and after that we can think about cute clothes and bath bombs and all those other silly little embellishments. And also traveling is so much cheaper with like a small suitcase. As much as I would love to go everywhere with my like freaking giant 1.5 meter tall suitcases that we came from China with when we moved back to Europe, and like you have that option. You can pay extra to be able to bring a giant suitcase of that size to lug around wherever you go. And as much as I would love to do that, it's maybe just not the most practical. And maybe there's beauty in simplicity. I don't know if I can promise myself to like change so quickly and so radically, because I think that like, you know, the part of me that likes pretty things and likes to spend money and like shop, it's always gonna be there, and I don't even want to get rid of that, you know? I don't think it's bad. I just don't think it's a priority. And I think I need to be more mindful and just like aware and remember and realize how certain circumstances make me feel. And going back to what I said at the beginning of this video, if you ask me to recall the happiest days of my life, I will tell you about Echo Festival and Concrete and Grass Festival, which is the same festival but renamed. I will tell you about going to Sigishwara on my first solo trip when I was, I think, 16. I will tell you about road trips that I took with my family when I was little. I will tell you about how happy I was in Thailand when I went there when I was like 8 or 9 years old and I got a freaking rash from the sun. I spent so much time in the sun that my whole body was covered in these little red bumps and we didn't know what it was, and my mom was terrified that I had like got some horrible tropical disease, and she took me all around this tiny island looking for a doctor who knew what the hell was going on, and it turned out it was just like the white girl got too much sun. But I had such a good time on that trip regardless of that. I'll tell you about going to Sweden with my boyfriend and the beautiful Airbnb that we stayed in, and like walking on the frozen lake in the dead of winter, and how -15 degrees Celsius was really not as horrible as I expected it to feel. Going and seeing Queen with my mom, Queen and Adam Lambert with my mom in Shanghai. It's just, you know, I love the beach, I love concerts, I love traveling, I love experiencing new things. I love performing. I'd love to get into that again, like get back out on stage, be a part of a band again, write songs again, step into my power as a singer and a performer. Like those are like my true sources of joy. It's not that clothes are armor and expensive cosmetics are status, and it's a way of spoiling yourself, and maybe showing your values in a way. Isn't it crazy how like certain brands come associated with like a certain type of personality, you know? Like if you're like a clean girl who's like very aesthetic and very like feminine and like soft life and whatever, then you use brands like Glossier and Jisoo and everybody knows that, you know? And everybody associates brands like that with girls like that, with that kind of life. It's hella good marketing. And I do love those brands. Despite having never actually owned them, actually. Like, I aspire to own Jisoo products and Glossier products, which, come to think of it, it's another, like, it's a little bit of an absurdity, really. Actually. I'm sure they're great products. I'm 1000% convinced they are great products. If they have that great marketing, their product development team is just as good and their products are just as good, top of the line. I'm 1000% sure. Will it make me happy though? Will it really make me happy to own the shimmering lip oil from Jisoo? Is that gonna be like, is that gonna change my life? No. Am I gonna, like, when I'm 80 years old, fondly look back on the day that a Jisoo lip gloss or lip oil arrived on my doorstep? No. I hope this doesn't ruin my chances of working with them though. But I think what I'm trying to say is like, my desire to like work with brands and stuff, it's not about the products, it's a means to an end. And the end that I want to get to is having a lot of money and being able to travel and go to concerts, literally. Like, that's what I want. It's not because I want to own all the clothes in the world and all the products in the world, although they are nice and I like them. But I think money is better spent on other things than, you know, stuff. I have enough stuff. I have too much stuff. I'm not gonna drag this out because I'm starting to repeat myself, but watch this space for signs of radical life change, I guess. And if you have a list of like superficial desires that you are working towards, if you're like saving up for a bunch of clothes or makeup or skincare or whatever it may be that you're obsessed with, is that really what you want? I'm not trying to be one of those people who's like, if you stop buying coffee every day, maybe you can afford a house in this economy, because that's also a little absurd. But like, how much of what you want is because you want it, and how much of what you want is because of how other people will perceive you if you have it, or because other people have told you that having it is good and that you are an aspirational, inspirational person if you have that thing. How much of it is just like for appearance's sake? And just like really think, if you could be anywhere in the world, doing anything in the world, where would you be and what would you be doing? And if you were in that place and doing that thing, would it really matter how much the clothes on your back cost? And whether you're wearing, you know, drugstore makeup or luxury makeup? Would it really matter? Do you really need 15 different moisturizers depending on what mood you're in? Or are you happy with just like 2? Because I think when I think about my dream life, I don't think I think about what products are in my drawers. I don't think too much about what brand of clothes I'm wearing. Maybe I think a little bit about the style, because I love wearing flowy dresses and I want to live somewhere with the kind of weather that permits me to wear flowy dresses whenever I want. And you know, in the evenings it gets chilly, because remember, I'm by the beach because I love the beach, and in the evenings it gets chilly and I can just put on like a big cozy sweater and make a cup of tea or a hot chocolate and sit in my sandals or barefoot and feel like the cold stone of my little Mediterranean house under my feet, and like listen to the waves splash and feel like the cool ocean breeze. Like, that's true joy. there's so many distractions from advertising and social media, and the distractions are not bad things. They're nice things to have. But, you know, just make sure you're not using distractions as band-aids to tell yourself that you're happy and you're doing well and you're like living a good life just because like the internet has told you that that's a good life. Don't be always like buying yourself meaningless trinkets so that you forget that you're not that in love with your job or not that in love with the city you're living in or whatever the case may be. Sometimes you need a moment of clarity. So, you know, like withdraw a little bit from the impulsive kind of instant gratification little treats. Withdraw from that, like take a step back from that and like try to figure out what is it that you actually want. Are there bigger things that you want and more important things that you want than the latest pretty dress or the latest viral lip balm or whatever? I think there are for everybody. And I hope that if I stop distracting myself for long enough, maybe I can actually figure out a way to achieve the dream and have the nice little nothings. So anyway, that was today's little stream of consciousness, brain dump, monologue, whatever you may call it. I hope that this got you thinking a bit about your life, what you want, what you've been maybe distracting yourself with. I hope this gave you the opportunity to like have a little moment of silent reflection. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed. Let me know if I should make more videos like this, or am I just being completely like self-absorbed for thinking this is even worth listening to? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe only time will tell. If I actually end up being able to like live in Greece or travel the world and go to concerts all the time and do all those things that I want to do, then maybe it'll turn out that this little speech of mine was not pointless. But it'll take a while before that comes into fruition, but I think it will. I think I can do it. I think you can do it. Whatever it is that you want out of your life, I think if you set your mind to it, you can do it. I think the first step to living the dream is being crazy enough to believe that you can. So many people don't even take that first step. But that was it for today. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye. Oh, and comment down below, what's your dream? If you could be anywhere and be doing anything, where would you be and what would you be doing? I'd love to know.